35 years ago, a strange discovery was made in Papua, Indonesia. Johannes Veldhuizen, a Dutch missionary, discovered a group of indigenous people that had been hidden from the world for a long time. This group of indigenous people belonged to a tribe known as the Korowai tribe. The hidden people of Papua's forest were nomads who hunted animals for food and relied exclusively on the resources the forest could offer them to survive. Their staple food was the bark of a sago tree. They would stay in an area where plenty of sago trees could be found, and use the bark of the sago trees to make bread with texture similar to the crust of a pie. When the area had been cleared of sago trees, the Korowai people would then find a new home in the forest that yielded the plant. However, in spite of the abundance of wild animals and sago trees in the forest of Papua, the Korowai people still had an appetite for flesh of humans. They were true cannibals. Their reasons for eating human flesh vary. They would kill and eat members of their tribe that were suspected of practicing sorcery. The Korowai people would also cannibalize captured enemies. They likened the taste of human meat to the meat of a pig, or a cassowary, a type of bird endemic to Papua. Indonesia. Cannibalism is a true taboo in any modern society, so it must have shocked people living in the late 70s to find out that cannibalism was still practiced in the remote location of Indonesia. The Korowai people that were discovered in the 70s, however, believed that it was perfectly normal to consume human meat. They saw it as part of their traditions. It was clear to them that consuming human flesh was an acceptable practice, and they had no qualms about telling outsiders that they committed horrific acts of cannibalism. There have been other groups of people in history that practiced cannibalism besides the Korowai people. Tribes in the past, such as the Fore of Papua New Guinea, the Wari of the Brazilian Amazon, and the Aztecs would eat the bodies of their deceased. Medical cannibalism is part of the history of China, Greece, and England. There are stories of people who have become lost at sea, and people marooned in the Antarctic for days, resorting to cannibalizing their dead in order to survive. The Korowai people ate human flesh in their desperate attempts to ward off evil spirits, or bring down justice to a member of a tribe. Many souls have met grim ends in the hands of the Korowai people because of cannibalism. Such practice is still common among them today. Millions of years ago, the Philippines became home to giant rat species known as cloud rats. These rats weighed anywhere between 18 grams to 2.7 kilograms and were tree-dwelling mammals covered in fur. They lived in the lowland forests of the Philippines for a long time and only became extinct 2,000 years ago. The Philippines has been around for far longer than what some people might think. Admiral Richard Byrd was a U.S. naval officer who had been known for his aerial explorations of Antarctica. Admiral Richard Byrd also purportedly found an opening both at the North Pole in 1947, and the South Pole in 1956. According to him, he found an opening to a hidden world deep within the icy terrains of the North Pole when they flew over there in 1947. The hidden world had warm temperatures and was lit by a strange light. The admiral was shocked to discover that the place was teeming with life. He even found a woolly mammoth, the prehistoric ancestor of elephants. When Richard Byrd and his crew were flying above the hidden world they discovered, they spotted what appeared to be a city along the horizon. While flying towards the city, they suddenly lost control of their aircraft, which then automatically engaged in auto-flight mode. Then out of nowhere, an unidentified flying object that had a disc shape appeared over the side of their aircraft. They saw that the UFO had swastika markings on it. Richard Byrd and his crew were still unable to take control of their aircraft's flight, and it was as if it was being controlled by an unimaginary force. Whatever it was that was controlling their aircraft, be it the UFO that appeared out of nowhere or a base at the city they were approaching, it was taking them directly to the city they could only see ahead of them. Soon enough, they found themselves in the city, which Richard Byrd described to be glowing and was made of crystal. What followed was the arrival of alien beings that were tall, had blonde hair and spoke German. The alien beings included a leader, which they called Master. Byrd and his crew had a conversation with these beings who Byrd discovered to belong to the Aryan race. The beings who lived deep within the icy terrains of the North Pole spoke to Byrd because they had a dire warning to humanity about the destruction of the planet, due to humanity's penchant for warring. Their warning was precipitated by the news they received about the bombing of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The alien beings said that humanity's appetite for wars could soon lead to the destruction of the planet, in light of the technology of atomic energy being put to use in Byrd's world. When Byrd and his crew boarded their aircraft after their conversation with the alien beings they met, and were preparing to leave the City of Crystals, they received a radio message from the master saying that the controls of their aircraft had been freed. The master then bid them goodbye.